This diagram illustrates the historic sunspots responsible for a Carrington-level event, a massive solar flare. If a flare of that magnitude hit us today, or if we faced a chain reaction of space debris, known as Kessler Syndrome, or even a sophisticated cyber attack, the 9,000 active satellites currently in orbit would go dark. The immediate loss of a smartphone's blue dot, or a satellite TV signal, represents the surface level of this failure. These orbital failures trigger an immediate systemic collapse of modern infrastructure. Space infrastructure functions as a silent heartbeat. It regulates our electrical power, routes our financial data, and dictates global logistics entirely out of sight. Within the first 6 hours, global navigation satellites like GPS, Galileo, and GLONASS vanish. Civilian navigation and commercial transport lose their coordinates entirely. Thousands of commercial flights currently in the air face an immediate crisis. Pilots are forced to ground their planes, relying on manual navigation, a process known as dead reckoning, to avoid mid-air collisions. The internet's backbone in remote areas and developing nations relies heavily on satellite links. Those regions are physically severed from global communication within seconds. Grounded flights and severed communications are the visible signs of a deeper digital collapse occurring within our most critical networks. Satellites function as a shared planetary clock. They constantly beam a precise digital timecode wave to terrestrial receivers. Zooming into the financial sector, global markets rely on these exact timestamps to synchronize high-frequency trades and verify complex banking transactions. Without that universal clock, banks have no way to reconcile who bought or sold what and when. To prevent catastrophic accounting errors, the global economy would have to freeze entirely. Meanwhile, 4G and 5G cellular towers start experiencing what engineers call clock drift. The towers lose synchronization during the handoff of calls from one zone to the next. Call quality plummets, and very quickly, entire cellular networks fail. That same clock drift destabilizes modern electrical grids, which use orbital timing to synchronize alternating current. Uncoordinated power flow across thousands of miles of wire leads to cascading blackouts across large landmasses. Without the orbital metronome keeping the beat, our terrestrial networks literally cannot talk to themselves. A hyper-connected civilization shatters into isolated fragments. By day 2, the digital desynchronization physically manifests in our logistics networks. Our modern just-in-time economy operates on razor-thin margins of precision, and that precision is gone. Massive container ports rely on GPS to track millions of shipping containers and guide automated cranes. Stripped of those coordinates, these hubs slow to a crawl, creating an immense backlog. Out in the fields, high-tech commercial agriculture depends on satellite data to dictate automated planting and harvesting cycles. A disruption during peak seasons drastically reduces crop yields, setting the stage for long-term food shortages. The digital freeze has now solidified into a physical halt. Food, medicine, and fuel are trapped exactly where they sit. Looking past the first week, we face an existential blindness. Decades of continuous environmental research into polar ice melt, carbon levels, and global climate shifts halt immediately. We lose our early warning systems for natural disasters. Major threats like hurricanes, expansive wildfires, and emerging droughts would strike landmasses completely unannounced. Our meteorological forecasting capabilities immediately revert to the analog methods of the 1950s. Militarily, global superpowers find themselves stripped of aerial reconnaissance and guided missile accuracy. Operating blind increases the risk of accidental escalations. The financial drain would be astronomical. The failure of the GPS network alone would cost the United States economy roughly $1.5 billion every single day. Modern survival depends on space infrastructure as its foundational bedrock. Removing it instantly sets human civilization back by several decades.